Hello, welcome to our series How to Get Ready to Play with Playbox Neo. In today's episode, we'll learn how to set up a ad insertion scenario utilizing the two standards SCTE 35 for IP streaming and SCTE 104 for SDI streaming. I have two instances of Airbox, and the one on the left will be my source machine sending the signaling, and the one on the right is my receiving machine at the local station, which monitors a live feed from the main server and has the advertising blocks selected here. So let's go to the settings. First, we need to go on both instances, enable input and output DPI plugin to be enabled. DPI is another name, digital program insertion or ad insertion we call it. On the output part of the plugin, in this instance where I'm using it, all I need to specify is a pre-roll time before the bookmark with the start event. For example, if I need to compensate for some lag in the system, I can add this pre-roll time here. And also command repeat. Some systems require a couple of times the command to be sent just to verify, or some systems just react to one command or so on. All right, and in the input part, which I'm gonna set up for our second instance, which is the receiving end, this is where we have more things to configure. First one is which live input we monitoring for the signaling. In this case, first I'll do signaling utilizing SCTE 104 via SDI. So I select my SDI source. And then I have to tell the system what to do when it receives the command splice start normal. I want it to jump to bookmark, which I'm gonna start every advertising block with a bookmark in my case here, with the bookmark name. And as you can see, I have different bookmark names like C_100, C_101, for example, in my case. So I'm giving the parameter the following setting here: C underscore and then the variable, which is the event ID, and you will see where I insert this event ID. So based on if you receive a ID with this number, it will look for bookmark with the name C underscore and the event ID. And then at the end command, we'll just perform return command, which means it will go back to where it jumps from, in our case, the live stream. Right? So let's go here on the source machine, the main machine. I inserted here in two places, two different advertising blocks. In this one, as you can see, I select splice start normal, and then the splice event ID, I put 101. We have another parameter for ID purposes if your receiving end requires such a numbers. In this case, I'm not using this parameter. Automatic return is a way of describing the advertising block by the machine automatically calculates between the start and the end mark, so it will automatically send return even if you don't define one. But in my case, I'm not using this. I'm defining start and end of the advertising blocks commands. Time zone, this is not applicable here. This is on the receiving end applicable, and I'll show you how it's used. So I have event 101, which I'm expecting to result to jump at the bookmark C_101, as I showed you in the previous. So let's just go, you have to test it, jump to the previous item to go over the bookmark, and you will see once it finishes this video, next is the bookmark, and it will jump down here to the proper place. As you can see, I have more videos here on the ad insertion machine, but it will jump before it reaches the end of this advertising list here, because I received the end command here. I also have an event return at the end of this list, sort of as a fail-safe switch. If something happens with the command and I don't get that command, it will jump back to where it came from when this list finishes, sort of not to go indefinitely if it doesn't receive end command. But this is not being used right now, it's just for precaution. You've seen the next event that I have here, jumped to this advertising block. It will play a couple of those events until it goes back to the end, and you can see after that it will jump back to where it came from. In settings, I will show you the output. How do we configure our output plugins? First, let me connect to the output, and as you can see, NeoSuite opened the configuration of the SDA cards, the inputs and outputs. In my case, this is the card outputting from the first instance. And if I go into the settings of this card, you will see that I have SCTE 104 on which line to be pushed. Line 13 is the default, and if the device on the other end receiving this SDI signal needs to see identification that there is a signaling happening, some devices require that. You have to enable this splice null, otherwise just leave it disabled. It works for us right now. Okay. The other option I have here, SRT IP stream. So let me just jump to this one. Here again I have the SCTE 35 inserter enabled. In the service part I have to define what type of service this is, if I want to change the PID IDs, but I'll leave it on the default ones because in my case this works okay. If you have specific IDs that you need to configure, you do it here. Again, same thing, bandwidth reservation is the same, meaning that you will, if you enable this, if it's necessary, the receiving end will have information that there is a PID information for the SCTE, but if there is no data, because there is no data most of the time, just not to alert and send alarm that there is something PID is missing from the stream, you can just click this to tell the encoder and the receiving end that everything is okay. Okay. The portion with the SCTE 35 works exactly the same, just the signaling is passed over. Let me just go again here, and I will first set my live input to the streaming source. In the plugin, if I want to use the streaming source, the DPI input plugin, I need to change the live input to this is my source SRT stream from the first instance. So we monitor the first this input for the signaling, and the way it works is, let me just again jump to this video before this start. So I'm expecting the signal to jump here to ID 101, which is my first ID. as you can see, works exactly the same way. So this is how you can easily set up ad insertion, digital program insertion scenario utilizing both SCTE 104 over SDI or SCTE 35 over IP signals. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please call our support and we'll be happy to assist you.